Welcome to the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. The podcast that will connect you to resources regionally and nationwide to engage them in open, honest discussions so that we can inspire the growth that you need to chase the experience you want. So strap yourself in because here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Chasing Your Experience podcast. I'm your host, Sean Smith, and we have quite the episode in store for you today. Usually we spend a lot of time talking about chasing your experience. We talk about, archery. We talk about a lot of other maybe scents, things like that on how to attract deer. But now we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to maybe elude one of their top features, and not just scent, but obviously their vision, right? So to help me with this conversation, we've got the owner of Cedeer Camo with us today. So everyone help me welcome Jason Cowman. Jason, how are you?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Well, good. I'm glad to have you on. This is going to be an interesting podcast. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk about the camo, tell you how we got started, and kind of explain what makes Cedeer different from the rest of the camos on the shelf.
Absolutely. So, Jason, you got quite the background, and I'm really, since this is like your first time being on the podcast, I'd kind of like for you to give us a little bit of introduction about yourself, about just your background, how you got into the outdoors, and then, of course, I think some of your professional life is going to bleed into how we came up with the with your camo pattern. So let's just kind of introduce all that, so we kind of build that foundation.
Yeah, so I'm Jason Cowman. I grew up in Southeast Ohio. And after high school, went to college and then went active in the Army. So I spent 23 years in the Army, 6 combat deployments. Through that whole period, I was an outdoorsman, started hunting at a young age. I think it was 6th grade when I started bow hunting. And grew up hunting Southeast Ohio, chasing whitetail mostly, and some other small game, but kept hunting throughout the Army, met a lot of friends and hunting buddies that'll last a lifetime. After retiring from the Army after 23 years, me and one of my best friends from the Army who retired prior to me, we actually started a hunting outfitter here in Kentucky. We had some good property, picked up more leases. So we did that for about 4 years. And we went to the World Deer Expo in Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll be back there again this July. If you are in Alabama, come see us at the Cedeer booth. But while at the show, we were discussing how the year was going for our hunts, when he was going to need to travel down to help cover when we needed more guides, and just kind of reflected on how the show went, and through everybody we've met in the industry, watching camo companies that have popped up, not made it, meeting owners of bigger camo companies and seeing holes that were left in the market. I told Dave that we were right 20 years ago. So rewind to 2004 when we were in the Army together. Young in the Army, had families, didn't have no money. We came up with the idea of starting our own camo company. So it was a dream that didn't last very long at the time because, we came up with what it was going to look like. So it wasn't gonna be Cedeer as it is today, but it was going to be more of your real tree style pattern, but look like a cedar tree because there was nothing on the market. So the name Cedeer, that's where it originally came from, was we were going to make a camo that looked like a cedar tree. So a little bit of play on words there, but we quickly found out we didn't have the money. We quickly found out we had no clue how to start a clothing company. And in 2004, we just couldn't Google it and figure it out. So in 2024 at the show, he said, well, how are we going to do this? I said, I've got Google now. We'll figure it out. So I went to Google, kind of did some YouTube and figured out how to really use Photoshop to create a pattern. Took all my knowledge of concealment and camouflage from 23 years in the Army, and then did research on top of it because there's so much research out there now, studies that have been done on what works best. So I knew I wanted a macro and a micro pattern combined together. I knew generally what colors I wanted, and we wanted to kind of stick with the color schemes out of a cedar tree just to
Uh-huh.
stay with where we started. And I played with it for a couple weeks, kept making up patterns, not liking them, creating more patterns until we came to where our pattern's at today. So at that point, we had a pattern. We started copywriting it. Then I started making phone calls, emails, finding manufacturers, and getting a feel for them. From there, it was develop the clothes. So I knew what I wanted my layering system made out of from time spent in the Army. Um, I wanted to kind of replicate the layering system we had in the military, but use better materials. So military's cold weather gear is meant to keep you warm when you're moving. So when we're hunting, we're not moving all the time. So we wanted to maximize what we were using in our layering system. Worked hand in hand with the manufacturers, developing our different lines from our early season to our mid season to our cold weather gear. And they kind of came up, they did our mock drafts for digital mock-ups. I went in adding pockets and everything where we wanted them, and got the ball rolling. So we waited on samples to show up. The samples came in, and if I didn't like it, I threw it out and we started over on that piece. So when it came to the actual development of piece by piece, it was me with just mountains of gear. I had on this side like 20 years worth of Army gear, and then I had like 30 years worth of hunting gear. And I just went through piece by piece with a whiteboard making a list of I like this feature, I don't like this feature. And then I took all those likes, and created what I thought was the perfect piece of camo for each scenario. And once we got those samples done, we really we had our list of what we wanted to hit, as far as holes in the market. But then we started really highlighting those holes and where we thought we could get the most traction when it came to coming to market. So sizing being a big thing. Most of your big camo brands, they don't go over like a 2XL, maybe a 3XL. So we go all the way up to 5, 6XL in most items. And then one of the other things was trying to get super functional. So I've went on hunts all over the place, from hunting out west to hunting in the south. Like we had a camo pattern that was going to work well anywhere, but we wanted to have our gear functional enough that we could cover any hunt you wanted to go on. So with that, we started really going in depth on each piece, and on the layering system. So when you get into our mid-season jackets, the outer layer is waterproof and it's windproof. So by doing so, we don't have to carry 2 or 3 jackets for that early November hunt with us. And the same thing on our cold weather gear, we're waterproof and windproof. So we really wanted to be functional, and we wanted to cut down on what each hunter needed to carry when they traveled to go hunt. And I think we've really hit the mark on all that, starting with our base layer. It's kind of industry standards merino wool across the board. So we do have a merino wool base layer.
Mhm.
It's a merino poly mixture. Purpose being it's a little more durable than a straight merino wool.
Okay.
And then our mid layer is a spot where a lot of the industry I think gets it wrong. A lot of the industry you're just going to put a thicker layer of merino on as a mid layer. Personally, it breathes really well, but I don't think it insulates the best when you stack merino. So
Okay.
our mid layer is actually a polar fleece material, which is like a synthetic wool because it's your normal fleece like Columbia hoodie you're gonna buy is woven really tight so it doesn't breathe. The polar fleece is actually woven looser, so there's more of a gap in the actual material, so it still breathes like a wool, but it's got the super warm insulation factor of the fleece.
Okay.
Um, and from there we just kept building and sampling and testing. Every sample I got, the first thing I tried to do was tear it up. If I could bust a zipper, then I called the manufacturer and told them we need better zippers. And then once I got it to where I wasn't tearing it up or the seam, like some seams, we had to have them double stitch seams just to make sure we're not going to rip those out.
Hmm.
But then I went to shooting a bow with it. So as an avid bow hunter, I wanted to ensure every piece from the lightest to the heaviest thing we got, you can comfortably shoot a bow in it. Um, and once we got everything really worked down to what we wanted, we started making bulk orders, started bringing it to market. That's not the end, obviously, because we're still evolving, still adding items,
Hmm.
but sizing's kind of been one of those things we've changed as we went because I'm not a clothing maker by trade. So using international sizing charts and every other custom sizing chart on the market, just it might be true to size, but it's not true to American size of what you buy at the store.
Okay.
So pants, for example, our pants off the rip, everybody ended up having to size up with them. Not because they weren't true to size, but because your Wranglers and your Levi's and all the jeans you buy in the States aren't true to size. So found that out quick, ordering samples. I ordered my samples off of my inseam and off of my waist for pants
Hmm.
and couldn't button them. So
No.
I'm on Zoom like, hey, what's going on? These aren't the right size. And the manufacturer's like, get the tape measure out. So I measure it. Oh yeah, that's a 38-inch to a T. He's like, all right, measure your jeans you wear. So I measure them, and my Wranglers that are a 38 are actually like a 41. So
Hmm.
started started in looking and measuring my clothes. So I couldn't tell you why, but most things we buy are not true to what that measurement is on it here in the US. So we've started adjusting back down now. So taking our normal pants from the stores. I'm that crazy guy that's been seen at Walmart and Bass Pro Shop and different stores with a tape measure, like measuring clothes on the rack, trying to make sure sizes are just to make it easier so that when people order online, they're not going
Right.
back and forth with shipping.
No, no, that makes sense. And I got a theory as to why we size things differently here is because our waistlines tend to be bigger than everyone else's. So we
Yep. But we
want
still want to feel good about it.
we want you
So
to feel good about yourself. Like, there's a big difference, from between 38 and 40. when you
yeah. Well, I
when you
mean, we do coming out with sales last year. We've been hitting trade shows and expos hard in the months that we have them.
Mhm.
So you get some real looks there to start with before we've adjusted the pant sizes. Somebody says, "Well, I need a 42 waist pants." I'm like, all right, so we're gonna get you. You want it to fit, or do you want it to fit where you got to wear a belt? Because if you want it to fit, we're gonna get you a 44. If you want to wear a belt, we're gonna get you a 46. Oh,
Mhm.
I've never wore pants that big. It's like, well, I've got a tape measure. We can measure, but I'm just telling you, your jeans are not actually the size they say they are.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I'm not that fat. And I was like, here's the tape measure. We'll just measure it around there. And then they're kind of blows their mind and they're thinking about looking for a personal fitness trainer and dietitian sometimes because they're bigger than I thought they were.
Look at
Happened to
you.
me too. So
Look at you making America fitter one trade show at a time.
we're doing our part. But I mean, we do really well at the trade shows. People come in, they see the camo. Everybody that comes through a show, for the most part, is going to come check out the booth, and they want to see what the new camo is. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't talk about price up front. We kind of show them why the camo is good, why it's functional, and why it's going to help them and last. Explain our lifetime warranty. So we have a lifetime manufacturer warranty, which covers all zippers, all seams. If it fades, if it shrinks, like, that's all covered by the manufacturer. Um, if you get in a fight with a barbed wire fence, well, it's self-inflicted, and we don't quite cover that. But once they decide they like it, then they want to know what it costs, because they're expecting Sitka prices or
Mm-hmm.
super expensive for every item, and we're about half the price of most of the major competitors on our MSRPs. So we do pretty well, especially at those shows, because people can put their hands on it, try it on. We've got everything in the booth. Online sales, where we have good months and bad months.
When I go on your website and to kind of look through the gear and stuff, since we were coming on the podcast, and I've seen a few of your things on TikTok. I got on there and I was looking at the whitetail bundle, and I'm a big whitetail hunter. That's what I like to do. And like, well, so let's see what I would get when I get into this. And then I'm looking through all the products that come with it, like the huge line to take you from almost from early season clear through the late season as a whitetail hunter. And there's a lot of, like, there's base layers, there's different levels of pants, different levels of jackets, vests, and things. And I look at that and I'm like, all right, this has got to cost, like, I'm probably going to have about, I'm probably going to have about $2,000 wrapped up in this purchase if I buy this bundle, right, with everything that I see there. And then you look at the price and it's like half of that, like, we're legitimately half of that price. And so I give you guys kudos for the fact you're bringing functional gear to the market that's not going to break the bank of your true, like, blue collar average hunter. Like, that's fantastic. And I want to take a moment to talk about something that has transformed my approach to hunting. That's mock scrapes. I was introduced to the Scrape Doctor system 2 years ago in Columbus, Ohio, and let me tell you, it changed my game. If you're looking to dive into mock scrapes or just need a fresh perspective, I highly recommend checking out scrapedoctor.com. Their insights have been invaluable, and it's been great to see how my skills have developed since that first meeting. What's more, our relationship has blossomed into a fantastic friendship. And to celebrate that, I want to share an exclusive deal with you. Use code CountryFried15 at scrapedoctor.com to save 15% on your purchase. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Yeah, 100%. So when we started down this adventure to start the camo company, there was a couple goals that I wasn't going to give in on. So one, we had to have the quality gear that matched anybody's quality on the market, and it had to be affordable. Um, and like that was the basis of starting Cedeer Camo. So there's way too many things in this industry that are expensive. Like, honestly, pretty much everything wrapped around our hobbies of hunting is expensive at this point. From the equipment we use to the camo we buy, I mean, down to the fuel we put in the truck to get to the woods, everything's expensive. And your average hunter is is a normal blue collar worker that just loves to hunt. Like, he's not spending thousands of dollars to go on an Alaskan moose trip or different hunts all over the world, and he just loves to hunt. So we wanted to ensure that everybody could afford it, um, so they could have quality gear that would last, so they weren't buying Walmart camo every year. And we wanted to ensure, sizing wise, that anybody who wanted it, we could get them fit for it. So we've kind of stuck with those goals, and we've I mean, we haven't let up on the gas pedal since we started. I mean, I did. We
Once
we
again,
definitely had some hurdles, but we're still rolling.
yeah, I was going to ask you, what was one of the biggest challenges that you came across when you decided that this is the direction you're going to go? And I'm sure there's a plethora of things you came across, but what was one of the biggest challenges?
So that's easy. Um, it was like beginning of July when we decided to actually say we're gonna shut the outfitter down and become a club for next season and start the camo. Finding a manufacturer obviously that we liked was work, but I wouldn't call it a struggle. So like a struggle is something in my eyes, like if you count little things as struggles, like you're never going to make it through life. Like what I've experienced in my adult life from being in the military for that long is like things that your average person would think is a struggle. That's just a regular day. So the biggest struggle though came in January of 2025. So we had got manufacturers, started testing products, had kicked our socials off, not selling yet, but beginning of 2025, my partner passed away. So with that was that wasn't like hit a speed bump or pushed the brake in the car. That was like somebody reached over and pulled the e-brake on everything. So I really had to one, make sure family was good and everything, but then I had to just step back for a couple weeks, deal with my personal side of it, the family, help the family, and then just figure out what the future of Cedeer was. But because him passing, other than just my best friend of 20 something years and hunting partner that I was doing this with passing away, it was also a big chunk where it came to the financing of the company because he owned another company also. So that just dropped it into my lap that everything was on me financially. The running of the company part, the building of camo and stuff, that wasn't hard. It was just whether I wanted to do this without my road dog and battle buddy. So I had a lot of people pushing. I mean, bad times like definitely show you who your friends are, and sometimes people that you think are acquaintances or you go hunting with them once in a while, like everybody come out the woodwork and just lit a fire under my butt from people helping on the business side of things to get it started because we went from the LLC we had as an outfitter, so we started a new LLC for camo at that point, just for legal purposes. Um, but when it come to that, my partner in the past owning another business, like he took care of the legal side of the business, the stuff that wasn't seen. That wasn't my expertise, but I've got friends and clients from when I was an outfitter that owned businesses, and they're like, come, because I was on Google trying to figure it out, and with everything going on, it was just a pain. They're like, just come to the office, we'll do it for you. So a lot of people stepped up and helped, and we really came to market and launched a website in May of 2025. So that was by far the biggest struggle. I mean, there's other struggles that every new business has, but that was the Hiroshima of Cedeer Camo getting
Well,
off the ground.
you definitely, I was not expecting that. I was expecting find a manufacturer or just, finding something that was going to be like cost effective, and still have the quality I wanted. That's the response I was looking for. But man, did you hit me with a bombshell with that, dude? And I'm sorry. I almost think though
Yeah,
that somebody that helped drive a little bit more because you wanted to see his dream come to life. That being your battle buddy. You want to continue that on for him.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a person that quits easy anyways, but that at that point, like once I decided, no, this is what we're doing. Um, we're not quitting because of a rainy day. Then there was no stopping me at that point. So we put the pedal on the floor and started pushing harder. And then the manufacturing piece, like it's not that difficult. Like you might like I've used a couple different manufacturers getting to where we're at. I still have two separate ones that I use that are both pretty large manufacturers and make stuff for some other brands in the industry also. But as far as finding the right material for the right price, like you mentioned, the materials aren't expensive. There is so much profit in clothing margin. It's ridiculous for what some companies have you paying. Just having the insight of what my cost is and what my margin is compared to other brands, I mean, they're greedy. That's all I can say about it because I know they're at the amounts they order, they're getting it for cheaper than I am. Not to put any names out there or throw anybody under the bus, but if they've got a product that costs $500 to $800 for a set of bibs, and I can MSRP a set of bibs for under $300 that are actually warmer than their bibs and are waterproof. Um, yeah, you can't convince me it's not greed. Cedeer started in a different place though than a lot of companies. If you look at a lot of big camo companies, they weren't started by your everyday hunter. Not saying the founders didn't hunt, but they were started by very well-to-do, already business people or a celebrity in some right that might
Hmm.
pay for a $30,000 grizzly bear hunt every year, but they're not out in the field grinding and hunting like your normal hunter. So, and that gives us a leg up, I think. I mean, Cedeer's got a little different story than most. We started a little different, but we were started by actual hunters that are wearing the gear.
I've heard Levi Morgan talk about that because I don't know how much of the socials you follow and stuff, and every now my feed is like so hyped into outdoor stuff, and Levi Morgan came across is about the time that he left First Light and went over towards Element, I think. And it was one of the conversations he had, I think, behind the scenes and kind of hinted around was about the profit margins and some of the material, some of the clothing brands that are out there. So what you said there, I believe you. I believe you. Um,
Yeah.
so so let's talk about the pattern for a minute because obviously this has a lot of inspiration from your military days. Because when I first looked at it and knowing that you were in the Army, and I apologize if this next statement offends you, when I first seen it, I was looking at like, man, that looks an awful lot like a Marpat or something along those lines. When I first looked at it, the digital pattern of it. So I apologize if if I offend you in any way.
Yep. No, no, you hit it on the head. And I mean, where the military is concerned, hands down, despite despite being Army, the Marines have the best camo pattern. But so it was not meant to look like Marpap, and it's when you look at it up close, it's definitely different. But it came from pulling the collars from a cedar tree. So that puts us close to those collars. And I wanted those collars, one, because generally that matches kind of anywhere you go better than being a real dark collar or some of the brighter greens. But and you have evergreens pretty much anywhere you go. But also those colors just look better. So when it comes to camo, it's not as much about the colors as it is the pattern when it comes to really concealing you. But I wanted to build it backed with all the science, but I 100% wanted it to look good too, because a lot of your blue collar freaking hunters, they care how something looks to them more so than how it looks to a deer even, because they're not buying with a deer's eyes. But then the pattern, the science behind it. So the
It'll be all
CDR
right.
pattern, our ridgeline pattern is a micro pattern on top of a macro pattern. So just to kind of explain that a little more in depth and try to make it simple. A macro pattern is big blotches of camo. Think like old school duck camo. And a macro pattern breaks you up farther away. So if you're 60 yards and farther away, a macro pattern actually breaks you up better when an animal, a person, or anything's looking at you. Big reason why, if you look at old military vehicles, they've got big blotches of camo on them, not little tiny blotches. So if our camo, if you broke it into layers, there's big blotches of color, and then there's the micro pattern on front of it, which is the little blotches, which everybody calls a digital camo. But those little blotches, when you get inside of 60 yards, especially inside of 20 or 30 yards, those little blotches are what breaks your silhouette up more so than the big ones. So we started with our colors we were going to use, and we made the big blotches, which that was the easy part. Then it was just taking those colors and blending the little blotches in, and it actually it conceals better than I even thought it would when making it, once we actually had it in camo and could put it in the woods. Which at the shows, that's something I like to use a lot, even on our socials. But I like to actually just pull my phone out and show them cell phone pictures of me or of somebody in a tree, not an edited photo where someone's taken a picture and edited it to make somebody disappear, but actual cell phone pictures where you have to zoom in on the screen to even pull me out of the tree. But like I said, it's not as much about the colors as the actual pattern. So I'm not going to say that some of the camos that are not your typical camo collars aren't going to work just because the science behind it. Because there's a lot of pictures out there of Cedeer in a tree where if you zoom in and see it, you don't see the colors of the Cedeer because of the way the lights break you up, especially when you're in a tree stand. You know, you're silhouetted by a sky behind you. Those light collars really help break up you instead of having a dark silhouette of a person up in a tree. So I like the colors we used. I think it looks good personally. I mean, of course I should say that, but generally I am impressed with how well it breaks you up and conceals you in the woods. Setting still is still the best camo, but it definitely helps if your camo helps conceal you and break you up when you're in the tree or on the ground. Some people will point out that there's more light colors in it, that they like just dark colors in their camo. I challenge you, whether you're early spring during turkey season in the woods, or whether it's in the fall and you're in the woods, just actually stop and think about it. Look around in the woods, and no matter what time of year it is, you're going to see a lot of light colored things more so than dark colored things. From the sky and everything else around, there's a lot of light colored stuff in the woods. So those lights in our camo pattern really break you up with your surroundings, and break up that silhouette that's created by some of the camos out there, especially over the past, that really silhouette you when you're up in a tree with a light sky behind you.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with a lot of the photorealistic camos, is that it creates a very large black blob at a distance because it doesn't create what you call the macro pattern, right? And it doesn't break you up like it should. And that's one of the things I kind of look at a lot of camo patterns when I get up in a tree, because that's where I spend most of my time hunting, is up in the tree. So deer are going to be looking up. You know, if they're going to see me, they're going to be looking up. So how do you break up that silhouette of yourself? And it's those lighter splotches with the darker, and to break up that outline. And that's one of the key things I think you said back there, is like most camo patterns are sold because of what they look like to the hunter, not what they actually do for you in the field.
Yep. And with that, if you ever wonder what your camo actually looks like to deer, there's a website called Camo Matrix out there. It's camomatrix.com, and the guy that created it, I don't think he gets enough credit. He's done a pretty awesome job reaching out to camo brands. There's probably 200 different camo patterns on there. And then he's got about any scenery you could imagine, from swamps in Georgia to forest in the north to aspen trees out in Colorado, or wherever you want to go. You click on the scenery you want, it brings up a background, then you pick the pattern you want and it puts it on the picture. Um, so, and it puts it on the picture the way, the way our human eyes work. So what it would look like to you sitting there. And then you can actually click over and it's got the way a deer's eye or most cervids eyes work. Um, and it'll show you, and you can compare different camos right there on the same background and see which one's breaking up better. But it's a pretty good, cool
Yeah.
tool. If you've got a camo and you're going out west, and you want to know what it's going to look like. It's definitely useful.
Yeah,
So
I do
we've
that's one of the things I did. I got on YouTube to search your camo with that camo matrix because I've seen him before. I've seen his videos. I wanted to see if he had done anything with your guys' camo or not.
Yep. Yeah, so he reached out to me on one of the social media platforms and asked to put it on there. So we were all about it.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
take getting it anywhere we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, so then I mean, as far as our camo goes, a couple of things I would like to point out, like that are just a little different that I had sitting here to show you. One being our mountain ops pants. So we've got our early season pants, our carnivore pants, and then our polar attack, our cold weather gear. But our mountain ops pants, which we're running a sale for the rest of the month on. So our mountain ops pants here are they're briar proof. When I got the sample in, this is the one product that when I got a sample, I was like, this ain't it. We're just gonna have to start all over. Because I pulled them out and I couldn't believe these pants were actually going to stop briars for one. The bottom, maybe. So your bottom legs, the back of the seat, it's a pretty durable canvas. It's still pretty flexible though. It's not like a Carhartt. But the rest is made out of a ripstop. So this thin material is what worried me. That ripstop, I thought like I'm gonna go outside and walk through this multiple rose bush to test these and it's going to hurt. But I walked through, no bleeding, no scratching. So the ripstop, it's really stretchy. You might feel a thorn on that thinner part, but it'll never stab through and actually poke you. So on our website, on sale for the rest of the month, but our mountain ops pants have been a top seller, especially for early season hunting because there's so many things that's got a briar on it. Along with for your saddle hunters, your tree stand hunters, they're super flexible, so easy to climb in. And we do have them in the solid collar or in the camo and black, either one. But people have fallen in love with those. We probably sell more of those than any other pants. And hunting with solid collar pants is kind of making a comeback too. You see more and more people doing it. So it's all I wear if I'm scouting, doing yard work, climbing a tree to cut branches, going to shoot at tack or any of the 3D shoots we do because they're so breathable and lightweight. That's kind of my everyday pants if I'm out doing something now.
Before we dive too far, like I was out doing I was helping one of the property owners I hunt with mark some property lines. He's got some stuff going on, and we were going through the thickest, nastiest multiflora rows you could think of. And I'm like, man, I could use a really good pair of briar pants right now. And I'd seen your ad, and this is all seriousness. I remember seeing your ad for the Father's Day sale. I'm like, I wonder how good those work. Because let's be honest, I have 3 different types of briar pants. I got a pair from KUIU, I got a pair from First Light, and then I've got a pair from Duluth Trading Company. Of the 3, the Duluth Trading Company was by far my favorite. By my goodness, are they heavy. The First Light is extremely light, and I first looked at it, I'm like, there's no way this thing's stopping a briar. None. It helps a little bit, but yeah, I'm still getting poked and scratched. The KUIU was just a little bit better, but it's still not where it needs to be. So I like I am super interested in your briar in those mountain op pants because of the briar proof. Because I saddle hunt, I do all these things like, and there's not very rarely am I hunting the same tree. And I would much rather get access to some areas that are that thick, especially if I do the public land jaunt, where I don't have to worry about. I can get through the briars, I can get through these things without worrying about A, tearing my gear up, and B, tearing my legs up. And I don't think there's any particular order in that. So it's either one of the two. I don't want to do either one of those as I'm going through the briars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely was wishing. I'm like, man, I wonder how well those will work. Because I remember, like I said, I remember seeing your ad.
Yeah. It's definitely been a favorite across the board. Well, pretty much everybody on the pro staff has bought a pair of the Mountain Ops pants just because they are so versatile. Um, I got people on the pro staff that are linemen that wear them to work, so they're climbing poles with them. Whether they work in construction on the farm or just for hunting purposes, like most of them that buy a pair end up buying another pair or two, um, just to have, because and they're comfortable. Above all else, they're comfortable to wear around. I mean, that's what my wife wears doing yard work. Um, and as far as the briar proof ability, Uh, we've got a lot of people that buy them at shows that run tracking dogs that are in the woods beating their clothes up all deer season long, tracking animals. So they've been a top seller, and I don't foresee them going away because they're about my favorite pair of pants to wear in the closet.
Yeah, like I said, I if I could find a good pair of briar pants, I would I would probably never get rid of them. That's because that's
Yeah.
all we deal with in Ohio is briars, 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 briars.
Yep.
And I don't want to fault some of those other brands that I mentioned. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, but I think the design of those are based off what you're going to run into, like out west, where you're dealing with more that type of terrain versus just the
Yep.
monoflora rows that we deal with here in the east. So no fault to them, but I'm definitely interested in those, and I'll probably have to jump on that deal and order a pair since it's going to be lasting the rest of the month. So for sure.
Yeah. Like the tops of them, you might feel a briar, but it's not stabbing you. So, but you're not going to go wrong with them, whether you're in the briars or whether you're out west or anywhere else. And your watching machine will thank you, because burrs and cockleburs and all the stuff that you come out of the woods and are stuck all over your pants, they don't stick to them. So
That is a plus for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about the other line. So let's dive through, let's go through, I guess, early season. And you want to touch on, you want to hit the key points and everything all the way from early
yep.
season to what you would call your late season gear. Cause we talked a
Yeah.
little bit already that, your stuff is like waterproof and things. So let's go with that.
Yeah. So starting with early season, our Stalker series is our early season gear. So we've got our Stalker pants, which are a lightweight, breathable polyester pant that has some stretch in it. It's not as durable as they're durable. You're gonna make it through the briars, but they're not the Mountain Ops pants. So you might get tagged by a few briars. And then once you get from the pants, we got some options. So we've got the lightweight UPF material crew neck shirt for early season, or we've got the lightweight hoodie that's got the lightweight hoodie has the built-in face mask. Both are UPF material, super lightweight, kind of easiest comparison is to like some of the fishing shirts you see out there, the sun shirts. But it's a thick enough material that one of the key things is a mosquito can't bite through it. So whether you're down south with a bunch of mosquitoes or like in Canada, like I was a couple weeks ago, fighting for your life against the mosquitoes, they can't bite through it. It protects you from the sun. Um, and they're just all around good early season um pieces of clothing that protect you from the sun, but better yet, you can still breathe. Obviously, you're only if it's 90 degrees in early September when archery season opens in Kentucky, you can only do so much. It's hot out, but it's at least going to keep you somewhat comfortable. The Stalker series is
Mhm.
not waterproof. It dries really quick, but when it comes to waterproof materials that are waterproof, like they don't breathe as well as the materials we use. So we do have our Osprey rain gear, which is a super lightweight rain gear if you want rain gear for early season. Um, it's a little it makes a little noise as all rain gear will, but it's pretty quiet where
Mhm.
rain gear is concerned. So from the Stalker series, we move up to really what I call our flagship series if I had to pick one, and that's our Carnivore. So our Carnivore series is our midweight gear, starting with our pants and our jacket. That's a outer quiet. You can ruffle it around. It's quiet, it's windproof, and it's waterproof. And that's our pants and our jacket, the outer shells. Those pants and jacket, the construction of them is they've got a thin micro fleece liner, um, but about 50 degrees. So I'd say when it gets down to about 50, you can wear them comfortably by themselves. I usually don't wear it at that temperature, but I know some that do. So 50 degrees to about 40 degrees by itself, and then that's when you get into our base layers. So our Ovis base layer or our Arctic mid layer, you put those under the Carnivore, and then I'm comfortable down in the low 20s with just that. So most places that I'm going to whitetail hunt, that's all I need is our Carnivore series layered up, which is why when you look at the whitetail bundle, like you talked about, it's going to have all the early season stuff, but it's going to come with the base layers, the mid layers, and the Carnivore, because generally it's going to get you all the way through your whitetail season. I mean, unless you're up north and you're setting in a stand for 8-hour days, someplace where you're down below 20 degrees, which personally I try to fill my whitetail tag before then. But it's really versatile and packable. So real good for whether you're going out west also because it'll pack down small to get it in a pack, put it in a stuff sack, and it'll cover such a wide range in temperatures along adding that waterproofing in there is one of our key features and the ability to stop the wind. Because if you can stay dry and you can stay out in the wind, it makes a big difference on staying warm when it comes to those long sets. Without putting three
Mhm.
other jackets on with it, just to just to make it through that set. Um, our
Yeah.
Carnivore jacket has a lot of pockets on it. I don't have one sitting here with me, but I do have one of our Polar Attack, which we'll get into, and it has the same feature. So being a saddle hunter, and an archery hunter, I don't like gloves. And then wearing a saddle when it starts getting colder, I can't get my hands in those pockets down there. So we've got on our Carnivore jacket and our Polar Attack, you've got your inside chest pockets right by the zipper. Obviously, I'm not putting my hands in them, but we've got an outer chest pocket with fleece in it where in the saddle I can put my hands there easy. So one on each side. Carnivore jacket's the same way, but when I'm in my saddle, don't like wearing gloves. I can have my hands right there on my chest and keep them warm.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great idea when it comes to the saddle hunting is
yeah.
when you that like you said, I can't get to the pockets because of the saddle. And I was like, well, I don't understand why we don't put the hand warmer pockets up on the chest. So that's a freaking fantastic idea. Like that is the number one complaint I have with most hunting gear with saddle hunting is where the pockets are and how you access them. Because I'm like you as an archer myself. And even if I was hunting with a gun, I don't like wearing gloves. Like it gets in the way. You lose dexterity. Now, obviously, there's gonna be moments where you have to because it's just so freaking cold. But generally, I'm going to go with hand warmers or just keep my hands in the pockets or a combination of both of those. And like I said earlier, I just didn't understand why we didn't start putting the hand warmer pockets kind of up top of the chest where you can access those and keep your hands warm without, getting in the way of the bridge of your saddle. And I've even seen some, I'm not going to name names, but I've even seen some companies who have released like an actual, like, oh, this is our saddle line. And I'm looking at the pockets. I'm like, I still can't get to your pockets. Like it doesn't do me any good. I don't know what we accomplished with that and why you were saying that saddle based. So,
Yeah. No, I
but yeah,
get it. It's comes back to trying to make everything super functional and having the ability to make something the way I wanted to make it instead of trying to buy something the way I wanted it to be.
well, and that's kind of, I think, what leads a lot of people down the route to develop new products and things because they see like an issue that they personally have, and while sometimes sometimes it's a risk. Like, all right, so I'm gonna fix an issue I personally have, but then you develop this idea, you bring it to market, and then next thing you know, you find out you're not the only one that has the same problem. Everyone's like, yes, and they jump on board. So it is kind of a risk though when you start to develop things for that you're trying to fix a problem that you noticed. So, but heck yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad you did it. And I just finished recording an episode with Brent from A3 Archery Custom Bowstrings. And let me tell you, I'm impressed. Brent has over 30 years of experience building custom bowstrings, and it all started from his own personal need as a professional indoor archer, needing a set of strings and cables that he could rely on for precision and consistency, and not constantly dealing with peep twist or bows coming out of time. Brent offers both platinum and premium sets of strings. Platinum strings are made from the new B99 Bloodline fiber. You're not going to find a better fiber out there. And the premium strings is from the old and true DCY 452X. So if you're in the market for a set of strings and precision and consistency is at the top of your list, check out a3archery.com and order your set today. And as a special treat, use the code COUNTRYFRIED. It'll save you 15% on your next set.
Yeah, for sure. And it kind of came back to when we were designing. The manufacturer did up digital mock-ups for every item, and then I went in Photoshop and literally drew in pockets everywhere I wanted them. Some that we done away with later, most that we kept, or then we added extra. The carnivore jacket also has the same openable vent, zipper vent in the armpit, allow you to get some airflow in there when needed. But that's our outer shell. Then we do have the carnivore hoodie, um, which it's not your cotton hoodie. So it's a polyester hoodie with a micro fleece liner. It insulates pretty good through here in Kentucky through like the first or second week of November. I was pretty much at that point carnivore pants with the carnivore hoodie. And then as it got colder, I would throw the vest over top. I
Mhm.
really, really like that carnivore vest. It's the same design as the carnivore jacket, same material, same micro fleece liner, just no sleeves. But I've found at that time when the sun's going down and it starts to really cool off, just being able to put a vest over top of like a hoodie really keeps the warmth in without having to put a whole jacket on and everything else. And the
Mhm.
carnivore hoodie, it's not waterproof, but it sheds water really well. I mean, if you get stuck in a light rain, you're gonna survive. It's gonna keep you pretty dry. If you're sitting all day in a rain, you definitely are gonna want your rain gear or your jacket. Um, and then to bridge the gap between Stalker and Carnivore series, we came out with this winter, we come out with our Stalker jacket, which is not a waterproof outer. It's more your transitional jacket for going from early season to colder weather, where it's a very super flexible, breathable, um, soft to the touch polyester outer that's deadly silent, and then it's got that same polar fleece that we use for our mid layer as a shell on the inside, just a thinner version of it. So it's great for that shift in September, or the other places. It's amazing for your out west hunters and your spot and stock guys, because when building your clothing for your hunt, you really got to look at what you're doing compared to a whitetail hunter that's setting and not moving to an out west hunter or mule deer hunter that's out on the move. And a little bit goes a lot farther when you're moving and putting miles on in the mountains. So that stalker jacket
Hmm.
for us in the East Coast, it's great for when it just starts to cool off. But out west, like you could be trucking around 30 degrees, and that stalker jacket's all you're going to want because you're moving.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big mistakes a lot of Eastern hunters do when they go out west for that type of hunt for the first time is like, oh, it'll be cold out there, so I'm gonna take my insulated stuff. I'm like, ooh, you're not gonna want it.
No,
You're not
no,
gonna
I
want it
mean,
because, but especially,
yeah, if you're hunting out of a camp and you're staying out on the mountain, then yes, you're going to want it, but you're not going to want it for while you're moving during the day. So something something
mm-mm,
learned in the military a lot, like when you're on the move and action, whether it's cold or not, like during the day when the sun's up and you're moving, I would rather be a little bit chilly. Like I don't want to be sweating,
mhm.
because when I do stop after walking 6 miles to set up the scope and look across the mountainside for elk, like I'm gonna freeze when I stop if I'm wet. Um, but the other side to that is if I wear all my cold weather gear during the day when it's 30 degrees, and then I go to chill out at camp for the night when it's 10 degrees and I don't have nothing else to put on, I get a whole lot colder. So I'd rather be a little chilly during the day when I'm moving, to prevent sweat, and then also to reserve more clothing to put on when it actually gets cold later and I'm not moving anymore.
Yes,
So
yes.
being able to layer appropriately is a skill. And a lot of our East Coast hunters really haven't learned that skill real well. Like, yeah, you say, hey, it's cold, we got to layer up. They're like, all right, I'm gonna go put everything I have on. Um, but being able to
Hmm.
layer for what you're doing and conserve layers for when you do get cold is definitely important. And having the right layers so that it can be packed into a bag, because you're not walking 200 yards to your ladder stand or your redneck blind. You're if you got to carry everything for this week-long hunt in on your back, um, you gotta start packing efficiently and effectively, or your hike in's really gonna suck.
Mm, yes, yes. It's amazing the difference between a good packed pack versus one that's not. It makes for you when it comes to balance or just the comfort of everything. Well, heck, even here in the
Yeah.
East, though, like I don't like wearing all my stuff in. There's a lot of stuff that I won't wear in. I'll keep it in my pack and I'll put it on once I get to the tree. And that's one of the
Yep.
downfalls of saddle hunting too, though, is there's times I don't want to put my coat on until I'm up in the tree and in the tree for a little while before I put it on. But now you're kind of stuck because how do I get this on over top of my saddle or and still zip it up? Like there's some key things that you got to deal with saddle hunting wise. But
Yeah.
yeah, for the most,
Yep. For
I'm
sure.
not wearing all of it in.
No, it could be if I'm walking more than 100 or 200 yards in on whether I'm on public or private, I'm walking in like my base layers. It could be 20 degrees. I'm walking in cold because I don't want to
Hmm.
sweat on the way in. Um, Kind of same thing with boots. Like feet are kind of the struggle on staying warm. We don't sell boots, but I've got away from wearing insulated boots when it's cold. Um, Never will you see me with a pair of rubber boots on when it's cold, because I found you buy that super warm pair of boots or you wear those rubber boots and then your feet sweat and then 2 hours later they're frozen. So I'm pretty
Hmm.
much an uninsulated lace up boot. Um, some sort of hiking boot. I really like my Kinetrex or even my Morels, but then a good solid alpaca sock. Um, and that's what I roll with. Like as it gets colder, I don't add more socks. I don't add warmer boots. And it works better because my feet might get a little cold, but as soon as they sweat, I'm done because they're going to be frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a longer walk in during cold weather season, I'll actually get to the tree, sit down, take my boots off, put a dry pair of socks on, and then climb the tree. Because when my feet get cold, that's when I start to get miserable. The rest of me, I'm pretty good, but I don't like my feet getting cold.
My
Alpaca socks
hands
are
and
worth
my
the
feet.
money.
If either one,
Yep, yep.
it's my
And
hands and
my
my feet.
hands,
If any one of those two get cold, I'm done.
yeah. And I mean, we have gloves. We've got a thin, stretchy style glove, which I'm not against wearing those ones because they don't really mess with my dexterity of my hands. But they're not going to do nothing to keep your hands warm. So, like you said earlier, hand warmers in the pockets, and that's pretty much how I roll when it gets cold out. Being an archery hunter, like our thicker gloves that
Yeah.
are waterproof and insulated, like I can shoot my bow with them. And I did shoot my bow with them while testing him, but it's not what I want to shoot my bow with them on. So I like to be able to feel my release and not just go off a muscle memory of where it's supposed to be at. So I don't wear gloves when it gets cold when I'm hunting. I might wear one on my hand for holding the bow, but my release hand, I don't ever put a glove on it. Between not being able to feel the release and then not being able to push the buttons on my camera to hit record well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
that's why I wear our pockets where your hands go have fleece inside of them. So little extra warmth to keep your hands warm. But
Absolutely.
after the carnivore, we got the one more level, which is our polar attack, um, which was something that originally I didn't think we'd bring out in the first year, but then the one manufacturer put it on the table, and they make the cold weather gear for multiple big name companies. So we sat down and I said, well, this is what we want. So we're gonna do a bib, and we're gonna stay in the waterproofing, and we're gonna stay windproof, but we're gonna make it warmer than anything else on the market. Um, which was asking a lot. So we're on our Zoom meeting, and the material was easy. We already knew what we wanted there, and then we went with obviously our jackets all got the waterproof zippers, but so inside is Sherpa, so soft, warm, cozy, but then between the waterproofed outer and the Sherpa, there's a layer of woven thinsulate. So that layer of thinsulate was kind of the icing on the cake. So being that the manufacturer made multiple brands of cold weather gear, I
Mm-hmm.
was easily to say like I want to be warmer than theirs. If you want to make this for me, it's got to be warmer than theirs. So I want enough thinsulate in the middle that it pushes our CFMs up in that 1500 range. And this has been one of our, even though it's the most expensive thing on our site, like our jacket and our bibs together is like the price of one piece of most of those other companies. Um, but they have sold like hotcakes. Like I never thought when we went to a show in Georgia would we sell these, and we sell the crap out of them in Georgia or anywhere we go. So I personally tested it. The first one in Northeast Iowa at like negative 13 degrees for about 6 hours with the wind blowing. I had this with our base layer under it only. And then we had the coldest that I know it was hunted in was in Greenland. We had a gentleman out of PA that went to Greenland this spring, and it was negative like 26 wind chill. And he sat all day when he killed his muskox. So it's been put through the test, and it'll keep you warm. It's not the you can shoot a bow in it. It's not the lightweight pack real small, because by its nature it's made for the up north whitetail set all day hunter. Like it's not real heavy in weight, but you're not packing it up real small. So
Yeah.
Super quiet though. The hood zips off of it. If you don't like a hood, you can take it off and get rid of it. Because it's the
Mm-hmm.
thicker for your tree stand hunter, we do have the hole in the back for the tree harness. Just because
Okay.
the carnivore jacket, the shell for it, it's easy to wear it over a harness. It's not a big deal. But once you get into the thicker clothes, I like to be able to have that harness underneath the jacket, run it out the hole. But been a great seller. The bibs are the same setup, made the same way. With the bibs though, like because I don't plan on wearing those ever walking to a tree stand. The zippers on the legs come up almost to your hip, so you can get your foot through it with the boot on. And if my 16 size 16 boot fits in them, not very many people are going to have a problem slipping it over a boot. And then we did add we just come out with a new version of the bibs that I don't have a set here with me, but in the front of the bibs, we've got a pocket that goes all the way through with the fleece on the inside, kind of like a hoodie pocket, but on the chest, which
Okay.
was an afterthought because I wore these like twice last year in Kentucky. It wasn't cold enough to wear them. It was only like 20 degrees, but I needed some pictures of them in the woods. So I ended up, once I got our pictures and our film we needed, I just hunted with the bibs and a hoodie on. So I was like, man, I don't have nowhere to put my hands now. So we made that kangaroo pouch of a pocket in the front of the bibs also, because it's just I've found the chest area is where my hands like to be, whether I'm especially in the saddle, but even sitting in a ladder stand, like instead of trying to get them down, just putting them here keeps me more comfortable for a longer period of time. And then it is
Yeah.
our one item that's in our other pattern that it's it's still the same pattern, but we took some of the greens out just for the later season look.
Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of sums us up from early season. We talked about base layers and mid layers all the way up to our super cold weather gear. Um, and that package, if you're talking like look at it, comparing across the board the thousands of dollars spent there, like you talked about the whitetail bundle. So our pro bundle comes with our polar attack stuff also. In total, it's like 18 items, and
Mm-hmm.
buying it in the bundle puts you right there around like a $2,000 mark. But also comes with our waterproof gear bag. Pretty much everything we bring comes in that pro bundle. And there's not a place on this earth I've hunted you couldn't go successfully hunt with that package. Um, Obviously $2,000 is still a chunk, but comparing it
Right.
across the board, we feel it's priced very well, especially for what you're
Mm-hmm.
getting. We do have
No, I
we
agree.
have our bino harness out, which is generally our bino harness is you can only do so much to change a bino harness. Things that I liked off of others, obviously it opens forward with a magnet enclosure. In my eyes, that's a must. The two utility
Mm-hmm.
pouches come with it. So you're not buying your bino harness for $150 and paying $30 per pouch. So we've got some other pouches we're designing to get added to it to buy separate, but as it comes for full price 114, you've got your bino harness where it'll fit, you've got its separate pockets, you got the utility pouch that fits a rangefinder perfect. The other utility pouch you can throw whatever in. All the pouches connect with Molly. The back panel on your back, it's not just straps. You've got a big panel that also has Molly on it, so you could hook. I've got some prototypes. We don't have them on the market yet, but I've got a backpack that hooks onto that Molly on the back that holds a camelback bladder / you can stick your arrows in it. Pretty useful for running around at tack.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super low profile, so you can fit I've got my 12 by 55s in it right now, but you can fit much bigger binos in it, and it's not big and bulky sticking off your chest. So pretty big fan of the bino harness. It's been a good seller here in summertime, being everybody's going and shooting tack or
Yeah.
R100s or wherever they're traveling to shoot this time of year. But that kind of sums
Yeah,
the line up. We've
absolutely.
got some stuff in the works. We do have some packs in the works. Um, can't bring everything to the table at once. Obviously funding, everything costs money, but our hunting pack, being a saddle hunter, when it does drop, you're gonna want to see that thing. So everybody switches to saddle hunting for their own reasons. I mean, it's sold off of
Mhm.
being the lightweight way to hunt and to be more mobile, and it is lighter than carrying a climber to the woods. But this whole being more
Mhm.
packable, quotation marks, yeah, I don't know about how much more packable it is when you're in my case. I've got my sticks, I've got my platform, I've got my saddle and everything to saddle hunt, but then I've got my camera arm. If you're self filming, it gets cold, then you got extra clothes. So
Mhm.
I haven't found a pack for saddle hunting that's perfect for me. So I've ran a couple. I like my X2. It packs real good, like as far as platform sticks and everything. But as soon as you put anything else in the bag, it goes to hell. So
Mm.
they're, because like the bag's flat, like all the bags made for them are nice and flat. You can pack to them. But when you put everything else in that pocket of the bag, now all of a sudden stuff's hanging off sideways and clinking together. So the pack we've designed, that we're waiting on a sample right now, actually will alleviate all of those issues with packing in your saddle gear. Whether you're uh, someone who self films and has to carry in camera equipment, whether you're someone who gets cold when it's 40 degrees and you got to carry a bunch of extra clothes, or maybe you want to sit all day and you got to take your lunch and rattling horns and everything else with you, like you will be able to pack it all in and still have your platform and sticks secured where they're not flopping around or tied on with zip ties and 550 cord and everything else. So it'll be nice when it hits the market.
Well, that's the saddle hunter
Sneak
way,
peek.
though. Is the constant modification of stuff,
Yep, for sure. I mean,
paracord, zip ties,
personally,
all kind. All
I mean, I love the saddle hunt. My reasoning's a little different. I like it because it's more comfortable. I would, if I'm going to be in the woods for
Mhm.
8 hours, I'd rather be in my saddle than sitting in a stand. Um, I think that you concealed off of, you're better on the tree when you're off the tree in a saddle as far as concealment goes compared to just being a big blob sitting on a stand. So there's
Mhm.
lot of benefits I see in it. Being mobile for public and comfortable in my saddle is kind of my key. And safety. Personally, I think you're safer in a saddle than any other way you're going to hunt. So from the time I leave the ground, I'm hooked to the tree. Like I'm not going to hit the ground again. So
Yes, that's my
I'm
number
a
one
fan.
reason.
So
I feel more secure in the Yeah, I feel more secure in the
yep.
saddle for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Unless you're that one guy.
you might smack the tree, but if you're hooked up right, like you're not falling nowhere.
Yeah, unless you're that one guy that forgot to put your carabiner or didn't hook into your carabiner all the way, then end up falling out of the tree. Oof. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that could have happened in whether he was in a regular harness or anything else. And if you do fall
Right.
while
Well,
in
I'm
the
not blaming the
saddle, you can
saddle. I'm not.
recover yourself. Oh yeah, it wasn't the
Yeah.
saddle's fault for sure.
Yeah.
Someone didn't
Now,
read the
have you
instructions.
ever gotten to that one stick? And we would like to thank you for your support of the Chasing Your Experience podcast. If you'd like to continue to support the podcast, then please check out our online store at bonfire.com. There, you can purchase exclusive Chasing Your Experience podcast t-shirts and hoodies for all members of your family. Check out the link down in the description to find the store. And now, back to the pod. didn't follow
So
the instructions. Have you gotten into
so
uh One sticking. Have you tried that yet?
So I have one sticked. Um, I like the rappelling out of the tree, but one sticking's just it's not my favorite way to get up the tree. Um, I can do it. It's not the difficult part of it. It's just I'm not as fast one sticking. And with what I carry to the woods, like I can carry a couple more sticks. It's not the end of the day. And if I was
Mhm.
like a foot shorter instead of being 6'4", if I was like 5'5", one sticking would be great. But like at 6'4", put my stick, climb my stick, unhook. And so then when I'm hanging to grab my stick, I mean, I'm just this massive thing hanging from a line to have to reach down, get it, reach way back up. It's just not the best practice for me to get up the tree. I mean, it's great for a lot of people. Um, I've got multiple types of sticks. I uh I usually I'll run 4 with aiders, but usually I'll carry 5 sticks if I'm on public just to make sure if I got to go around limbs and whatnot, I can get as high as I want to. On our leases
Mhm.
and on my farm, generally I know where I'm going to hunt at. So if I'm going out and just climbing a random tree, it's usually for scouting purposes. Um, I actually do a lot of presets. So I'll have like a 20-foot stick ladder in a tree and I just climb it and stick my platform on the tree just for ease of getting in and less less noise and everything climbing. And I also have one of the Panther platforms. I don't know if you've seen those. It's basically like a climber, but it's a saddle platform. So it's made a lot smaller than your normal climber, and you can climb up with it
Mhm.
using. You don't have a top piece. You're using your tether, and then you can rappel down, or you could climb back down. But I rappel down. So if I know
Mhm.
they advertise them for going around limbs, um, that's kind of a pain still, in my opinion. So if I know I'm going on public and I've got good trees that don't have too many limbs, I'll take it just so light. I'm not carrying a whole lot and I can rappel down out the tree. So it's one of those. I think there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of great stuff that's came out for saddle hunting, that all has its place. Um, so
Mhm.
Like this might not be the best, like one sticking may not be the best technique to use in every situation, but it's definitely got its place and it's just
Mm-mm.
another tool in the toolkit. So that's how I look at it.
Uh,
But I love my saddle.
Well, that's anything hunting though. To be honest with you, is it's so personal to you and what you want to do. It's hard for me to get on the soapbox to say saddle hunting's the best style of hunting ever. It's the best for me. You found to be one of the
Hmm.
better options for you, but it doesn't mean that someone doesn't can't or doesn't find hang on stands to be the best thing ever, right? And I gotta be honest with you, there's times that I'm happy that I have a ladder stand set up somewhere just for the ease of that. I don't have to climb that tree. I just gotta climb the ladder and sit down and just enjoy the day, right? Um,
Yeah.
and there's give and takes to everything. It's just whatever you want to experience. For me personally, like I love saddle hunting. And like I said earlier, I feel more secure in that than I do in a hang on stand with a harness on. I know I have a harness on. I know I'm not going anywhere, but I guess it's that you feel that tension all the time from the tether when you're in a saddle that I think just makes me feel a little bit more secure versus just kind of that dangling tether that I don't feel. And I just feel like if I step the wrong way, I'm just gonna go wee and fall versus the
Yeah.
saddle where I don't know. I just feel more comfortable for
Yeah.
me
And
personally. For
if you
me,
fall, if you
100%.
fall, you're not going nowhere. You're hooked right
Mm-mm.
there. I mean, you might drop
Yeah.
2 inches and you can regain yourself, get back on the platform. You fall with a regular harness, you're dangling there, hoping you can get back up there.
You're gonna dangle.
But I mean, and I've got
Yeah.
ladder stands out on the farm. And that some of those spots are good spots and I'll hunt them. If I'm hunting by myself, I don't usually sit in the ladder stand. I'll actually climb up it and throw a stick on the tree and then get on my saddle above it. But
Okay.
yeah. they all definitely have their place. So I'm I'm not as much of a you got to do it this way as just get out there and hunt. Find a way you like to do it, and that's from the type of stand you're using to
Hmm.
whether freaking you use a bow, a gun, or a crossbow. If you're doing it legal, get out there and do it. Like it's not
Oh
up to
God,
me to
don't
tell
say
you how
that.
you got to do it.
Oh, don't say that. There's gonna be 1,000 people on coming on like, crossbows this or trad bows that or guns this. Why don't you hunt like a real man? I am
Oh yeah,
so sick.
no.
I understand. I understand people are passionate about these things, but I am so sick and tired of hearing if you're an able-bodied man, you should be using a real bow. I'm like, I hunt with a compound bow. Okay, I love it. I have no problem with people who want to hunt with a crossbow. It is what it is, right? It's not for me. I'm not going to do it. I mean, unless I absolutely have to do it. I've had one before. I've owned a crossbow. I've shot a crossbow in the past, and I just still gravitated coming back to the compound bow. You just,
Yep.
I think we have bigger problems. I think we have bigger problems to deal with than trying to alienate people that use a different implement that's legal. And do you listen to Josh Jones and them at all? Have you ever, you know
Yes.
how I'm talking about,
Yep.
that podium archer guy?
Yep. And I
And
I will
he
say
made
like
he made a
go ahead.
he made a really good point on the Hunter podcast. I listen to them on occasion. I don't agree 100% what they always talk about, but I was listening to them, and he brought up a good point. He's like, the problem is that it's not the fact of the crossbows; it's the fact that we are starting to alienate them and we're making fun of them. Like, what do you think happened to the trad archers? He's like, look at what happened. Compound bows come in, and all of a sudden they're talking bad about compound bows. What happened to the trad bow? They're almost non-existent when it comes to hunting, right? Then now crossbows come in. They're the most efficient weapon platform, honestly, for the archery season. If we want to throw them in there, right? And I'll be the first to tell you they're the most efficient weapon system to use in archery. So why would you not choose that? It is a superior weapon compared to a compound bow in efficiency, right? But then you get the compound guys now who are doing what the trad bows guys used to do and make fun of the compounds. I mean, the crossbow shooters. Who do you think is going to come to your rescue? Because they account for the majority of harvest these days. Like in Ohio, over 60% of our deer that were killed with two implements: crossbow and straight wall cartridge. Those are the two most technologically advanced weapon systems available to use in Ohio. Right? They're the most efficient. You want to know where shotgun and compound bow landed together at about 13% of our deer harvest was with those two weapons.
Yeah,
So
which is
what do you think is going to happen?
crazy.
What do you think is going to happen? Yeah, what do you think is going to happen when you go to them, because all of a sudden your seasons are something's going on and you're starting to fall away? Do you think they're going to have your back because you spent how much of your time making fun of them for it? No, you've alienated them. Why? For what reason? So, anyways, that's my soapbox moment for a minute.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, I mean I feel we've got enough people outside the hunting world that want to get rid of hunters. I mean, we got states trying to pass laws to make it completely illegal to hunt now. But
Oregon.
I just think, yep, yep, that's the one, which blows my mind. That's a completely different discussion. But if if we're beating up on each other, I don't care whether it's about what weapon you're using, um, how big the deer is you're shooting, because that's one that really irks me on social media. Um, we need to stop
Mm-hmm.
beating up on each other and just. I'm not saying you got to go support everybody using a crossbow if you don't like crossbows, but stop beating up on them. Like if the law says you can use it and they're doing it legal, I could care less. Like if the
Mm-hmm.
law says you can hunt over a pile of corn, have at it. If it says you can use a crossbow and that's what you want to do, go do it. I've got a crossbow. I hunted with it for a couple seasons and I bought it because I had shoulder surgery. And it was just a way to get in the woods and hunt still during archery season. As soon as I could pull my bow back again, I went back to compound. And that wasn't because the crossbow didn't work, because it definitely worked. It was just it wasn't exciting for me. Same reason I choose not to rifle hunt mostly. Like shooting an animal with a gun does not get the adrenaline pumping like doing it with a compound bow. And the crossbow, mind you, it's not a gun, but it's kind of the same feeling to me when you're just sitting there. You don't have to draw the bow back or anything. So that's why I like my
Right.
compound bow. It still gets the adrenaline going. But I'm not going to hate on somebody that's using one if they're doing it legal. I would tell them, hey, if you can, you might actually like shooting a compound bow. It just takes a little more practice, but
Mhm.
they can do it. Now, if it's a friend of mine at deer camp, like yeah, I might have some choice words for him, but other than that, like
Yeah,
they're gonna get
that's
poked
different
fun at.
though.
But yeah, it's
Well,
just
that's
it's
different
all
though.
about how you enjoy doing it, and everybody that's going out to the woods has got a different skill level and a different thought in their mind about hunting. Like they just want to, maybe they just want to be in the woods and they just want to fill that tag, and they don't have the time to become proficient with a bow, and or just aren't going to take the time, so they take the easier road with the crossbow because it's easier. There's no doubt about it. You
Hmm.
still got to get the deer in, closer than with a rifle. Sure,
Yeah.
you could shoot a deer at 100 yards with a crossbow, but that's still a long shot. Um, with an arrow either way, it's traveling pretty
Yeah.
fast at like 450 feet per second, but it ain't traveling like a bullet. So
No.
I can go out and practice and shoot my compound at 100 yards too, but I don't shoot it at animals at that distance. But
And
no, it's
we've seen people who have, but
oh yeah, yeah, no, it happens. I mean, I've got a friend who killed his elk at 96 yards 2 years ago with a compound bow, but conditions got to be perfect. Like, not a shot I intend on taking, especially on a whitetail.
yeah,
Usually,
there's so
usually I
much that's
don't
got to
have
go right.
over a 40-yard shot. Yeah, a lot can happen in the amount of time it takes for that arrow to get from the bow to that animal at 100 yards.
Now I'll practice out to
But
130 plus yards in the
yep,
backyard, but I have no intent of taking that shot on an animal, um, ever with a bow. There's just too much that can happen.
fun to shoot at the longer
Hmm.
distances. It's fun to go to tack and shoot the long distances. But really, why I encourage people to shoot the longer distances is because it doesn't even have to be 100, but if you practice regularly over 60 yards, your typical whitetail shot is going to be inside of 30. Um, some
Hmm.
people inside of 20. I usually try to set up for 30-yard shots, just the distance I like. But when you shoot over 60 yards consistently and then you go to 30 yards, you can like do it with your eyes closed. It's like shooting fish in a
Hmm.
barrel because shooting
Yep.
shooting at distance
It's not
tells
about
on
the
you.
shot.
Nope, you can get away with stuff at 20 yards. You can not have great form and everything else, but 100 yards, it's going to tell on you real quick.
Real quick.
When you're
Real
being an
quick.
inch off, it's a lot different at 100 yards than at 20.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the magic behind shooting long distance, like you said. Like, it's the way to perfect, your form, your setup, your tune, all that, right, to come into one cohesive thing. And then when you come up to 20 yards, all of a sudden now it looks like you just can't miss. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's no longer that big of a nervous thing for you. Like, 'cause it's this thing's so huge in front of you, like you can't miss at this point, because you have that confidence from shooting that distance. So absolutely. I love distance shooting by far. Well, Jason, I think we've covered a lot, man, and I appreciate you jumping on the podcast and stuff. And I'm excited for the camo brand. Like, I got to get back on the website, start digging through some of those, and honestly, I might want to try it. I definitely am excited for those mountain op pants. I think I'm gonna get on there and get a pair and try those out here while marching around this off season, as I'm going around, setting up mock scrapes and doing my preseason stuff that needs to get done, and put them through their paces, man. Um, Before we close this out, is there any other final thoughts you got for everybody before we shut this down?
Yeah. So, hopefully you've enjoyed the podcast, but first and foremost, like if you've got social medias, go give us a follow on all our social medias, because whenever we run a sale, we push it out on the social medias. Um, Share a post if you like them, and website is www.huntcedeercamo.com. We if you're a creator, we do have a healthy pro staff, so there's an application for that on our website. And if you're a veteran or first responder, whether that's police officer, EMT, or anything, we do offer a 25% discount. And there's also an application for that to get your discount code on our website under programs. So we try to give back to everyone that has given us the ability to get out and do what we do. Um, and until you see me again, just get out there. It's hunting season's coming up soon, so get out there, get your scouting in, get your prep work in. Uh, don't wait until August to do it. So if you're an archery hunter, don't wait till August to get your bow out and dust it off. Go check your strings and get shooting now. But until next time, that's all I got. Just get out there and hunt.
Before I give my closing comments, that when you said that don't wait till August, like, or September, you know the guys who are going to pull their bows out the day before season starts, right? And then there's always a meme that goes around this time of year where there's like a Glendale target and then there's arrows everywhere except for on the target. It's like,
Yep.
close enough, we're good, let's go. There's always those guys out there and everyone's like, oh, those are crossbow hunters. Like, no. There's a lot of compound guys that do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Or they'll pull it out, next thing you know, your string's dry rotted, and now you're good luck at that point, because you're going to be about 2 or 3 weeks before they even get a string in for you. And that's
Yeah.
luckily that's by luck.
If you're gonna be an archery shooter, you kind of got to make it a hobby year round to be proficient with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's why with
Yeah.
the nonprofits I work with, we really push getting veterans into archery hunting to create that hobby, to give them something to do year round. But yeah, don't wait till August or September, because your bow shop's not going to have time for you.
Yeah. And just there's a lot of people that I talk to that's like, well, I just don't have time to shoot all the time. I'm like, it's not about shooting all the time. Like, it's just, if you could just go out there and do 5 good shots when you can, you'll be surprised at how much better you'll be just collectively over time versus thinking you need to go out there and shoot 30, 40 arrows a day. You don't. Like, just go out there and make 5 good shots and focus on that. And you'll be surprised how good you actually become. So it's not about spending all day shooting the bow. It's devote 15, 20 minutes of your day and go shoot 5 good arrows. And I promise you'll see amazing results. But Jason,
Yeah.
with that being said, man, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your service to our country. Not everyone gets the honor to do that for the men and women who live in this country, and sometimes we take that for granted, that we don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and we've forgotten exactly what it takes to be free, and the sacrifices that not only that our servicemen and women have to make sure that we remain free and enjoy the things that we do. And I also appreciate your continued support to those men and women who are out there serving their communities, serving their country, whether through veterans or as first responders. I appreciate that continued support. I wish you all the luck and honestly, like, I am impressed about how much you have come, how far you've come in just a year of being in market, and the amount of products that you have available already in just a year. That's impressive. Um, that's a big risk to take, not knowing if it's going to fly or not. It's a big risk to take, but as we all know, you don't become successful without taking a risk, and you cannot be afraid to fail. And I appreciate your drive to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I also appreciate you guys taking the last hour and a half or so to sit and listen to Jason and I talk about camo, clothing, and Cedeer as a brand in general. I hope you guys have found this to be informative. And I really do know that your time is very valuable, and I do not take it lightly that you took that time to sit and listen to us talk. Please go check out Cedeer Camo at the website and all Jason's socials. Go check him out there. Make sure you follow them so you catch up on all the latest and greatest, and also some of the great sales they're having. And if you're looking for a good pair of pants to get you through as an off-season scouting, get you through those briars here in the nasty East, jump on there and get you a pair of those Mountain Off pants while they're on sale for the end of the month. But, ladies and gentlemen, until our experiences cross paths again, may you guys have the courage to fail, but yet the humility to learn. And as always, we hope you stay safe out there, and God bless you.
Thank you for listening to the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. Before you go, don't forget to leave us a review and follow the show on the podcast platform of your choice. Are you hungry for more Country Fried Outdoors? Then follow us on Instagram at Country Fried Outdoors, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Country Fried Outdoor Productions.